Hi all, Jin here with my favorite villain of all time and the man who started my How to Play series off, Sephiroth, also known as Stripperoth, if you have his costume that is. He's back with his LD and BT, but no rework, so my very first video I did of him is still 100% valid. Always remember to start with skill 1 before skill 2. If you're wondering how my pulls went, you can check the description below, along with the playlist of all the previous How to Play vids I've done. Shout out to the Tomberry Troop, Rem, and the other content creators who helped make all this information possible. This video assumes a maxed Sephiroth, and while of course I'm still missing his burst, as freaking usual, I have to wait. I will still cover the bursts along with his LD of course, and a quick refresher of his base kit. His skill 1, Fervent Blow, is a 5 brave HP attack executed twice with 130% overflow that grants but does not apply 2 stacks of his unique buff Genova if the buff is already up. His skill 2, Octaslash, is 7-hit brave HP attack with 180% overflow that upon its use increases 1 stack of Genova along with the attack and max brave associated with that stack. And if the target is broken, Genova will increase by another stack. His unique buff, Genova, decreases all enemies' speed by 10%, and based on the current number of stacks, with a max of 5 stacks, increases his speed by 50% and up to 300%. And after using his skill 2, increases his attack by 70% and up to 150%, depending on the stacks upon its use, and similarly increases his max brave by 20% and up to 110% at 5 stacks. His EX ability, Black Materia, is 100% AoE gravity with a brave gain based on 650% attack with 180% overflow into 100% AoE HP attack with 120% overflow. It grants him the unique buff Reunion for 6 turns with an additional 3 stacks at a max of 5, and also gives him a free ability use on the next turn outside of his LD. Reunion buff increases his max brave by 15% and up to 50% depending on the number of stacks, and similarly grants him brave regen from 40% and all the way up to 200% of his eye brave at max stacks. His C65 ability increases his attack by 15% and max brave by 20% for 4 turns. His LD ability, Scintilla, is a 5 AoE brave split HP attack with 120% overflow executed twice. It applies the unique debuff Cellular Erosion for 8 turns on all enemies, which saps them by 10% max brave and increases brave damage taken by 30%. His burst ability, Heaven's Light, is a 15 AoE brave 100% AoE HP attack that breaks the brave damage limit of 120% and HP damage limit of 180%. The burst effect lasts 3 turns and will reset all enemies' brave to 1 after every single turn by literally anyone. His A sphere increases attack and max brave by 10% if his HP is over 50% at the start of last wave. It's a great sphere and perfectly good for him as well, even though he has no heals himself, but seeing as how you'd want to make sure he enters the last wave with 100% health due to his C50, 50% is plenty easy to manage enough. Also, any A sphere that he can proc that increases attack or brave damage is good for him. Aside from his own sphere, I went the route of brave damage with clouds and veins, so on a broken target, his 10 fervent blow hits have 20% increased brave damage, since of course a broken target is automatically crit as well. I actually covered all my spheres for Sephiroth in detail in my How to Sphere video, which for any of you who are still hoarding spheres or unsure how best to use them, then I'd suggest checking it out, and the link will be in the description. For arts, you're mostly going to want 108 C50 all the way, with 330s as a decent third option. His C50 increases tons of stats, attack, max brave, eye brave, defense by 5% if his HP is maxed at last wave, and most fights nowadays are 1 wave anyways. You can have 108 330s on hand for multiple wave boss fights of course also. 108 Fervent Blow is actually pretty good too, due to the high hit count and skill count he has of it to max out its brave damage, but I generally avoid just focusing on one skill, especially as characters' kits will just continue to grow even larger. As you can see, I did keep an option for all 3, but 108 C50 is the primary. And as always for damage dealers with DPS armors, get the highest armor if you plan on using them frequently, since dealing additional brave damage and breaking the HP damage limit by 15% is huge for them. So how to play Sephiroth again? Well, I'm going to quickly address what I already addressed in my first video in depth way back in February, but always start with skill 1 first and then go into skill 2. If you start with the skill 2 first on a broken target, you will get 5 stacks of Genova right away, but only 4 stacks worth of attack and max brave stats. The rest of his setup is also the same. Try to get his EX up quickly to get to 5 stacks of Reunion as well. His EX will generally charge with 2 abilities in HP++, so if you're including his free ability after EX, that's just 1 ability loss and HP++ to charge it for longevity. Otherwise, for shorter fights, you can spam more and use less of HP++. And in general, for certain scenarios, you can hold on to his EX for a turn or so if you know you will need to shave the enemy with its 100% gravity. But it's important to always make sure you're not letting his reunion stacks drop off, since his EX is not fast and is only a 6-turn buff duration, and holding the EX for too long will lessen his free ability uses as well. In terms of his 2 base abilities, his skill 1 Fervent Blow is his best skill if you make good use of its high hit count and double HP dump. So use it when you're high on Brave generally, and would generally be my go-to skill for free ability as well. It also has a high turn rate, so great for jumping his otherwise slow ass up some turns if needed. His Octoslash is more for setting up his max stats on the first use, and for when you are at low Brave or need to shave an enemy, since it has higher potencies. And let skill 1 hit on already or nearly broken enemies, especially if you have spheres like mine to maximize each Brave hit. His LD ability only has 3 uses, not counting the extra one from Burst, and it gives only a debuff, so use accordingly. And since the debuff will essentially last a max of 24 enemy turns, save them for the hardest wave, and if it's many waves, a long fight and or fast enemies, save them mostly for upkeeping at the end when the enemy defenses are the highest, since it will give Seph extra Brave from Sap, and along with his Brave regen allow his skill 1 to deal efficient damage against higher defense. And definitely have it up during burst and summon phases as well. Only use his LD to upkeep the debuff, unless you're in an emergency AoE shave situation and his EX isn't up. Also make sure an enemy isn't going to cleanse debuff soon prior to using it. If you have his burst, then upkeeping his debuff for the whole fight is much easier. Keep in mind that for his free ability you can use it on his AA as well, since it is a good option and increases his stats by a good amount. This is when you're not needing to conserve abilities. And as always, make sure he's at 100% health before going into the last wave. Now, how to play his burst. I actually don't think I ever fully covered this clearly in my previous videos, but prior to any burst use in general, you should try to set up properly first, such as using your AA if it increases your stats. You can have call abilities up that help the burst user as well, along with the friend's burst effect up, etc. Unfortunately, I don't have any gameplay of myself using his burst, but shout out to Resfoina for this footage of her Seph burst while we're in co-ops. In terms of Seph specifically, definitely have his AA up, and hopefully any other additional Brave regen from other party members or call abilities if have, and try to time the burst when you need to refresh his LD debuffs. If Seph is getting proper Brave regen and Brave damage, his skill 1 is the best to use twice, since Seph has a free ability on EX. So you'd use the EX prior to using his skill 1 first, so you can use it twice. His LD can be used anytime pretty much, since it's only debuffing the enemy, and obviously if you don't have the debuff up at all, then you should use the LD first. In general, Seph's burst effect is superb alongside AoE Brave units that can delay all enemies each turn, but since it's only 3 turns long, I'd advise not to use Seph's skill 1 during this time, as it may cause him to jump up and lessen the amount of turns you can take advantage of it. It's also amazing to go with fast units with high turn rate, free turns, etc., especially if they can get free turns on break, since enemy Braves are constantly resetting to 1 after every turn. And there is someone that is quite strong, came out recently, fills all those checkboxes. That would be Lightning. And of course, if you bring these 2 damage dealers in the same party, you'd want a nice support unit as your third. Also, using a Seph friend for his burst effect is fantastic, especially during your own burst. I'd recommend opening with Seph friend's LD first to get the debuff down, then use his burst before you burst. Then you can constantly keep breaking the enemies during your own burst. So, onto Seph's cons. Well, that burst effect is only 3 turns, so it's quite short. Luckily, he's kind of a slow ass. And that burst is also what elevates him more on par with other units, so him kind of needing a burst more than previous burst characters means that you feel you need the burst, and then chasing a burst is not always a good thing. His LD only has 3 uses, and will be very much shafted if the enemies cleanse debuffs often. He completely missed out on a rework, which is the biggest complaint people have for his current state, so all his base skills are essentially the same since his initial EX release. His EX Plus had just given him shorter ramp up time and HP Plus and Brave Plus, and Overflow and more stats. He still requires ramp up time, and if his buffs are cleansed, well shit, you gotta start from scratch. His skill 1 is still mired in low potency, so if you haven't accounted for this through team building and spheres and such, he doesn't hit as hard, which is a death sentence for him as a damage dealer since that's his most used skill. His base skills are also entirely single target. His rework thankfully changes this, but we're far from that, so to AoE shave that includes breaking, you have to use his LD since his EX doesn't break. His skill 2 also seems a bit outdated since he's lacking any splash or AoE HP attacks with either skill, without a free turn and without free turn damage to make up for it like other premium damage dealers. He's also not very fast, so if he's your main damage dealer, your supports actually would take more turns than him probably. And finally, his need to be at 100% health for the final wave to proc his C50 can be troublesome at times, especially since he has no way of healing himself, and he also has very little health compared to most. So all of this is why most people, to put it bluntly, shit on Sephiroth's current state. But I'm done shitting on Sephiroth since this is hurting me, so on to his pros. That burst effect is quite amazing and unique. I outlined the benefits already when going over the burst, but it can be used in a great variety of ways. Rude's banner can't come soon enough for me. His LD debuff benefits everyone. Dealing 30% extra brave damage is amazing, especially for high hit count damage dealers, and it can generally be kept up for most of the fight as long as you have the burst and the enemy isn't cleansing regularly. Also, his EX has 100% gravity to it. Also, I've always loved his speed down aura. Even though it's only 10%, it's always present due to the fact that his Genova buff also never expires and can be stacked with other speed down debuffs and or Leviathan summon. His own Brave regen is fantastic, and if you combine it with more, he can be regenning up the wazoo to like max Brave cap sometimes, which is terrific in combination with his skill 1, which is a fantastic skill when it's hitting hard enough and if he's constantly filled up on Brave. With his LD debuff, high armor, and proper supports, you can be dealing 150k plus damage easily each time with his skill 1. His free skill uses after EX obviously adds to his longevity and gives him even more skill 1 uses than the already 8 uses at base. And his great stat boosting AA can be used more times as well if using a free skill on it. So my final thoughts on Sephiroth, and if it wasn't already clear, make sure Seph is hitting hard on his skill 1. If you shored up his weaknesses via team building, i.e. auras, enchant, imperil, additional brave regen, and then also with spheres like I did, he can hit plenty freaking hard, especially in single target fights, which I know aren't that many, but in those he can just hit as hard as the best of them even if they have free turns, since his 150k plus a pop can easily keep up. He brings a bit more utility than the other premium damage dealers do to the party with his gravity, his speed down aura, LD debuff, and very unique burst effect. I think Sephiroth himself as a character is so hyped that if he's not broken or absolutely amazing, he becomes a disappointment, and then that eventually turned him into kind of a underrated character in my opinion. Is he lightning? No, but lightning is just so damn special. But is he absolute trash? Definitely not either. I mean, that's not a glowing review, but if he's your fave like he is to me, you can easily build him up with spheres and arts and choose a team comp to highlight his strengths such as brave regen, auras, buffs like from Saz, and or imperil and enchant, then he's plenty great. I think the fact that he has to be built around is the cause for concern for most, especially since proper team building isn't exactly understood by a number of players. His EX Plus release was also shot on, but I was able to use him throughout the EX Plus era fine, including up to the Alexander Chaos at the end of the era and into the Burst area as well for Garland's challenge quests when I didn't even have an LD or BT for that fight. Most important thing if you want to use Seph is maximize his strengths and build around him, then he can be quite good. Otherwise, yeah, he can indeed be subpar if you don't. But unfortunately, he does kind of require his burst more than the previous units. Alright, so let's go to do this insane Lufenia that I've been hearing about all this time. I haven't tried it yet, but I've heard plenty about it already, so it's actually hard for me to go in exactly blind. But that might be a good thing this time around since I don't feel like trying this over and over again. But I also don't want to use lightning here for an easy clap, so who I did finally freaking get a burst for, I had to go via tokens. RIP, now I'm at 0 BT tokens now, I gotta start from scratch. Alright, so I know that Reno Call is excellent here, and along with Ami Friend, can be used to prevent their shields from going up after 50% health, and prevent them from taking turns. And you'd have to kill them fast after that 50% health threshold, and that's pretty much all I know. Very helpful tips to know going in. So I will try to do that with my team of Gladio, Seph, and Saz. I think Lightning and or Kurosame in place of Seph and or Saz is generally the go-to teams if I'm not mistaken. Reno, it can also be used here. Vivi, I've seen Vivi be used here too. But I'm going to go with this team since I want Saz's buffs for Seph, along with the buff extension for Gladio, who can provide the additional auras and healing for us. I'm going to bring Leviathan also for the additional speed down on top of Seph's and extra brave regen if we get hit. So let's go. Hopefully we can get this on the first try. But from what I've heard, I think this fight is going to be pretty difficult. I think my only option is to use the LD here to get them both to below 80%. What? Yo, I got you guys below 80%. What the fuck? I was supposed to cancel the orb, damn it. Ah, crap. Same issue as last time. Need to get them below 80% before the last orb turn. F you, dudes. Don't think I'm gonna make it. Yeah, his team ain't clearing this in time. And B's gonna be at 1 orb left after his turn as well. F. Alright, going to try with Charlotta for the extra HP damage up. I will try to avoid using her free skills as much as possible when their orbs are up. Kurosame probably would be better, but I'm curious if this will work. Don't know why I like to make my life difficult. So close. Why? Let me see if this can at least kill A. Nope. A's gonna kill me instead. That orb unlocking sound is starting to give me PTSD. Screw these guys. Alright, last try. I'll be stubborn. See if Kaist is better than Charlotta. Doesn't seem like I'll make it again. I think I was closer with Charlotta. If I had a Seph burst for any of these runs, I probably could have made it. Or I definitely could have made it. Just need that extra oomph I'm missing. There's that damn unlocking sound again. Screw you guys. Gonna bring a BT now, damn it. No more messing around. Alright, out comes the BT and the premier meta one to boot. I'm done causing myself pain. Let's get this one over with. Plus, this is the first time I actually get to use Lightning's BT myself anyways, so gotta make good use of those 50 BT tokens. Alright, open with skill 1. 5 stacks of Genova. You'd want to target the broken enemy. And then put an EX. Then into free AA. And into skill 2. And then finally the LD. Now she's all nice and set up with all her buffs. We go skill 1 for the cover buffs here. And then now Seph's skill 2 gives him the max stats for Genova. Get my second stack. Into skill 1 plus. And then back into EX. And then into another free turn and ability. This is my beauty rotation for her. Then get the second stack here. I'm checking to make sure Light has plenty of Royal Guard buff up since she loves to run out of her buffs. Going straight into the LD since from previous runs I do know that I need to make up ASAP that 80% threshold. Plus I swap them out at the end so there's no need for the counters later anyways. Time to drop that LD debuff on them. I've done this first 80% part enough times to run like clockwork at least. And with lightning it should be that much easier. Get my free turn here. Gotta start taking down B though to match. I'm going to go skill 1 here. Just because she has more skill 1s and I want to stay aggressive until they're below 80%. And of course she jumps up, so I guess it's just HP plus anyways. I guess I'll refresh skill 1 again, because lightning is burning through them. It also gives me faster to 10 stacks. Now that Seph is all set up, I can use my skill 1 at high brave. 146k, not bad. But he should be hitting harder. Unfortunately, this team is not set up to complement him. There's not enough auras, there's no extra buffs or brave regen or imperil or enchant. But light deals enough damage to make up for it. I'm concerned I can't break with just the one brave hit from the HP plus. I think I'm gonna play it safe. Yeah, still get a free turn after anyways. Skill 2 plus. Still got plenty of time left on those orbs, and they're pretty much at 80%. This EX should do it. Yep. Easy cakes. Before without lightning I was always so tight with the 80% threshold. That red aura is effing annoying as usual. And so are these giant fat ass shields. I know how enemies now feel fighting Warrior of Light. Hey, which is why I don't use them that much. Have pity on me. Nice launch here. Get my second stack and stay in Ravager for EX also later. Gladio hitting pretty pansy. Alright, nice high brave for skill 1 and gets a jump up as well. See, ideally you want him like near capping on those hits, then he becomes a monster. Right now he's feeling a little subpar indeed, unfortunately, with this team setup. Oh well. Light will pick up the slack for this Lufenia until you get your burst, my man. I want to use my LD to refresh, so I guess I'll use a free AA here. free turn. And then into LD. Damn, that fat shield is super annoying. Gonna bring out the skill 2 to shave down that fat boy. Very nice. The second stack here. Skill 1 plus into EX is always the best. Should I even out the HP and send B back as I was planning? Or do a fat ass launch? Let's go for the fat ass launch. Alright, now time to focus back on B. Get my second stack. Skill 1, refresh for light, who always seems to be running out. Skill 2 plus for free turn. Or maybe since it's something I can actually break with the HP plus, I'll go that route first. EX still be able to do decent damage despite that fat shield. Free turn with HP plus here. Into skill 1 plus. And then into the EX as usual. Beautiful. Bring out his LD. Probably should have done it sooner, to be honest. Let's get that shield gone. Second stack. Now B has evened out. Now get rid of A's shield. The second stack here. I think I'm gonna play this safe. I rushed and did too much damage to one and got them below 50% when I wasn't ready in previous runs. Just made more of a headache. Ideally I need to shave their shield prior to getting them below 50%. So let's shave here while evening out the HP also. Bless the HP percentages. Okay, now it's time to refresh my LD. And it should help shave more of the shield and not send them below 50 either because of that shield. Oh shit, it did. Okay, well, at least Light still has some turns to go and shave A below 50% now. Use my free on skill 2 since it has less skill uses available. Then I'll go into skill 1 plus, and then into EX. Alright, it's perfect that Seph and Gladio go in this order. I can put all the divas on that I want right away. First get down that Reno call debuff. Fantastic damage. Now the LD debuff. Now, Ami friend, come out please and fill out the remaining slots. Boom! Look at that, fellas. Too bad, no shields for you. And this time I brought lightning, so you suckers have finally lost. Okay, we're going to need B to get rid of this damn aura, so let him go. You can just wipe A's turn away first. We'll ignore B here too. Get my second stack. Ouch, that hurt. Hate that move. Glad it missed Seph at least. Now the hard part is finally over. I finally have enough DPS this time around too. Or I should rather. 90% sure since I have light BT also. Now it's just about melting them away, including their turns. Wondering if I should HP plus first or not for the free turn. I guess I'll be a bit conservative just in case. And she jumps up. Fine with that. Get my second stack. And now, goodbye dudes. Still an OP LD. Go for the fat launch. 284 brave damage. Very nice. Alright, B has only 20 turns of the orb left. We'll need to kill him first. Trying to debate whether I want the free turn and HP plus on A, and then EX on A since turn is so close, or just go for the EX on B. Yeah, we'll go for the EX on B. That orb is just so much lower than A's. And I got the free skill now, so it's a good time for the burst. Get that call up first for the extra ray regen. Penelo's call is amazing. And the moment has finally come. My first use of light burst. Alright, so free skill on skill 1. and then into EX. I wish I could just have the game music on for just the burst spots. And the free skill on skill 1 again. And finally the last skill 1. And then into the LT. Finally, I have my own. She's so glorious. In all my previous runs, I was missing essentially all this free damage. And of course the burst effect on top as well, but my previous runs were just so close. Free burst damage from like Sephiroth would have definitely pushed me over the edge. Well, too bad. This run will have to do. It's pretty much over now. They won't even get to act. Just gotta make sure I still kill them before the orb goes down too much. Also still have summon left. Might as well summon now before Ami's LDs to make them really go far back. Look at them trying to put on buffs. Poor babies. Shout out to the JP Pioneers for figuring this stuff out for us. That shield is super annoying as fuck otherwise. Look at their turns. Completely non-existent. I'm going to take care of B first. That orb is still kind of lower than I'd like. I was wondering if I need to conserve skills, but I'm probably being too conservative, so let's just go all out now. There's the damage I'm looking for on skill 1, 183k. Might as well use EX since no point in skill 2 anymore. Let's take out B. Goodbye. Oh, didn't realize I removed A's debuffs. Oh well, I should have seen that coming. Don't see him getting any turns anytime soon anyways. You just go straight into the LD, I guess. Of course the mofo. Going to put up his shields now though. I assume we can regen enough Brave to take him out in time still, even if we don't break the shield. Oh nice, Gladio. Been gone for so long, forgot to get his EX up. Okay, this should be over. Perfect. Goodbye. Don't even see your next turn even. Alright, I'm sad I had to bring out Lightning Burst for this, but hey, you can at least see how much easier it is with her. I probably would have been done with this ages ago if I had Seph Burst, but oh well. It's definitely a tough fight either way. If you bring not hard enough hitters, since it's pretty much a race from 50 to 0% health. And getting to that 50% mark isn't a cakewalk either. It requires some maneuvering. But seeing those HP percentages definitely makes life easier. And also locking out their shields for the latter half as well. Alright, these are my arts. Mentioned before, Seph has his own sphere, clouds and veins for extra brave damage. And then he has triple 108 C50s. Gladio is also fully sphered with his own. Vaughn's for 10% attack and Maria's for 5% attack and I brave to the party. He has triple 108 330s. Lightning is just missing a D-sphere, which would eventually be hoped probably. But it has Raijin's and her own. And triple 108 330s as well. Alright, I hope this helps those still struggling with the vent, or for those just wanting to see how Seph works with his LD. Honestly, the reason I'm most disappointed with his run is just because I couldn't do Seph justice. In this fight, I wasn't really able to dispel the fact that people think he's underwhelming. I mean, he's not OP for sure, but this fight is not actually that great for him. And even though he's the event character, especially with no burst, I could not bring a proper party to showcase his strength with just the LD, since we could not make the DPS race at the end in time. And I had to deal with the other mechanics of the fight as well, so couldn't really support him with the units I'd choose normally. Like you want good auras, parallel enchant, or good buffs. But in this fight you need those units doing some decent damage as well, otherwise we don't make it in time. Oh well, once I get his burst we'll be greener pastures ahead hopefully, and hopefully I don't pity it. Thanks all again for watching. Hope to see you guys for the pool battle royale with Lids, 40, and Risfoina for Roods. And that's where I'm assuming I will get Seph's burst. Alright, I will see you guys next time. Take care. Bye.